What's going on, everybody? Money Shot here, back with another God's Eye for you from a public War of Rights match. War of Rights, of course, is going to be a 300 player count, first-person military roleplay combat sim set in the U.S. Civil War. We're still around Antietam today in our first match since the snow has melted, as we look at the historically Union loss as they attempted to cross Antietam Creek at Pry Ford. Match Pry Ford going to give us quite the chess game with the terrain today, as well as a very decent artillery duel. Not going to say too much, I will just flip this over for you and let it unfold. But before I do so, please, if you haven't yet, down below, give me a like, subscribe, give me a follow, share if you've got friends, and I'll check back in with you just before the map. As always, enjoy. Slight rapids of Pry Ford. Union mustering as they have to come across this, seal this off, and come all the way up here. You see the butternut forming up right here under the point of contention. Union's got their work definitely cut out for them. CSA guns now have commanding view of the entire battlefield. Union battery down here really in a disadvantaged position, but they do have a clear view of the CSA artillery. If they can knock them down and then let the Union infantry go to work, they stand a chance. However, CSA's battery definitely is not going to let themselves get smashed on so easily, especially with high ground like this. And we'll see a lot of terrain usage in today's match. You can see this nice little hilltop has some decent rocks on the top of it, is a favorite, and then the terrain back here is another one. Cannons singing out as opening moves begin, and you can see Union has crossed the creek, and they are way back here in the jungle waiting to make their move. They're likely going to try to take this corner of the map and this central-esque high point. CSA knows what they're up to. They're not going to let that happen without a fight. And amidst an artillery duel, we see battle formations from both sides. Infantry moving over here to the left, likely as a distraction, if not an attempt to shore up defenses on the battery. But there's nobody pushing the battery. CSA has everybody awaiting this main Union army as they come up to the roadway and begin to enter the battlefield. We'll check right back in with them. Artillery duel kicking off really well here. A lot of red on the ground amidst these cannons. None of those Union guns, other than one, is even bothering to counter the enemy artillery. And in the end, this artillery is just going to start smashing on the Union guns. Union guns are trying to find... I don't know where that was headed, trying to find the CSA line, but they are down below a curve in the terrain, and you can see them exploding harmlessly over top. They are not actually even on target. Union has pushed into the field now, and like we initially thought, they have begun to utilize this this rise here, and they will use the slope of it to defend against the cannons while firing down onto the CSA main line up there. Terrain so much in this game, and you can see it coming to life right here, especially here on Pry Ford. And it looks like Union's battery has given up their air bursting hopes and dreams and mostly focusing now on counter battery operations, which is what they need to be doing all along. CSA artillery, however, has got it a little bit backwards. They need to focus maybe 1 or 2 guns on counter battery, and the rest of them need to be focusing on counter infantry. Union really finding home now, and this is gonna make for an interesting match if CSA guns can't sing out and cover their infantry boys, while Union has that high central hill, we'll call it. Union might have a chance of breaking this CSA line. From sheer ticket loss, but they are taking quite a bit of losses. While this was a decent coverage from the cannon fire, it is wide open from 3 large CSA companies up there, and they got tore up pretty decent. They are definitely still alive back here, though. You can see they need to push back up and retake that central hill, and probably instead just skirmish out around here and pour fire out. They could still volley in a skirmished formation. Lots of red on the ground still for this CSA battery, and they're actually... we'll see how long this CSA battery is in operation, as they are failing to even put guns back into position before firing. And Union battery is smothering them at this point. This may go as a W for the Union's cannons today. And they have an officer. Both teams do have an officer, so it is not a lack of officer issue. Union being directed with much better efficiency than the CSA artillery is right now. This would not be that difficult to end. However, should the right person at the top of that hill start directing that battery. CSA now shifting to the center of the map as they drove Union way back there. And they're going to dare the Union to take the battlefield from them.
Okay, so they have,
and now the rebel guns have decided to silence their opposition, and they land one directly in front of the cannon. See the red mist popping up down there.
We have more cries.
A couple of Rambos there on the fence line, trying to draw the attention of the arty officer right here, as they send a shell at the same time as one comes in. And it is an absolute duel at this point. Both teams seem content to let their artilleries battle it out. Nobody's wanting to push up and take the field. And to be honest, we are enjoying it probably just as much. Another one's returned, and you can see cannons being driven backwards on both sides now. There's another one coming in. And it is moments like this that make this game.
Yeah.
Shot going down towards the Union battery. It does end up exploding well short of its mark. Another one coming in long and ends up exploding just beyond the unusable ammunition carts back there. CSA charging the Union battery, though. Nobody saw this one coming in without the infantry up there to give them cover. And then a cannon goes off as people are standing right in front of it. CSA does end up taking the ground, though, and Union's guns, for the time being, have been silenced. This would be the best moment, and they are taking the opportunity for Union's infantry to push back up into the battlefield, but I think they aren't going to go all the way over. CSA was really ready for them. If they do try to come over that fence, they're going to get cut down pretty quickly, and you see them immediately pull back. Union now finding themselves in quite the predicament. They've been driven all the way back to the beach here, and they've got to reform, probably wheel, and come around from a different angle on this central hill and get that back. They do need to clear their battery, because if they get to that central hill without doing that, they're going to find themselves in a world of hurt from the top of this hill. As CSA's artillery starts to maneuver their guns for new targets, anticipating the infantry now engaging. Big old rebel yell coming up from the CSA infantry lines as they calmly begin to put the volleys out, discouraging anybody from making moves on that fence. Union battery has responded. CSA has given up the ground to go reform back with the rest of the rebel line. And CSA artillery, however, is still pounding the area. Real lucky this limber right here did not get flipped. That would have rendered it completely useless. You cannot draw ammo out of it once it is flipped over. And they quickly get back to counter battery work, and you can see
back there on the fence.
CSA's artillery begin to feel its effects almost immediately. They have shifted their cannons back towards there, but they don't get a chance to get shots off. That cannon shot, that shell actually hit the top of the cannon, came off the cannon, ricocheted off the cannon, and blew up immediately and drove this limber backwards.
Pick that up.
And we will go straight back into an old-fashioned artillery duel, cannon for cannon right now, on the artillery side of things. Union's line has got to do something at this point. They really need to push straight on up and attempt to break that CSA front line, but it is so strong, and they are using just enough terrain to make it difficult for Union to see anything from long range.
Shoot that fucking asshole by that tree.
I see him. Shoot that asshole.
And you can see them trying to take out one lone sharpshooter
still
right
there?
there behind the tree.
He's still there behind the tree.
As he refuses to go down. And he's got quite a number of angry rebels on him right now. He slowly loads again. Oh, he's hitting the tree. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There he goes. And he will go down, costing a Union extra tickets. As he went down by himself on his own. And the Union is going to make a push. Looks like they are shifting to the left. Another Union regiment over here is driving up through their battery. And we will see if they continue all the way up and then cut in to take the point of contention back, or if they then turn and immediately go for the CSA line.
You want catalyst?
There's quite a bit of helter-skelter going on right here with whatever has happened with this artillery duel. Cannons are scattered absolutely everywhere. We missed something. But cannon fire still continues to pour in here, taking a few boys out from that infantry line as it maneuvers up into the field. Union battery is going to attempt to put themselves back together down here, but CSA is not going to let them, and they cleanly remove that guy's body from his legs and continue to now wreak havoc on the federal cannons.
Desertion, shift it right.
Union now getting a decent infantry line over here in the field, but they're being slightly held off by this little company right here that actually is not officered at all, unless it's this guy right over here. And I guess it could be. I'm not sure what he's doing on his own. He will eventually probably go down and cost a decent amount of tickets being an officer out of line. We are still waiting back here in the scrub brush along the bank for an opportunity to make a move up the right side. I don't see it happening. It rarely does without the Union battery being able to find targets. And right now the Union battery, I don't even think they can find their cannons, let alone targets, with the barrage that continues to rain down from the CSA artillery. Strong lines, and you can see most of these cannons pointing directly down at those Union guns, not allowing them even the chance to reset their cannon after it gets knocked around, let alone return fire. You can see them start to push a couple of guns back into position here. We still have a few guns trying to make something work over the top of the hill. I do believe that gun just got hit square on its nose. That was interesting. Never seen that one before. A ricochet off the gun caused the gun to go backwards. But as it sits right now, not a lot of infantry work going on here on Pry Ford. Mostly a real interesting artillery duel. Shell going off right there. It does look like it caught the top of that rock right there and blew up. increased just slightly should allow it to get down to where it needs to. Union gun way off target right here. Another Union gun way off target somewhere. CSA really making some moves now. They're gonna probably push up and take this new front line area if they can find some defilade, some lower area in the ground. However, there's a decent Union formation right here in the middle. I don't think CSA knows they're there yet. And Union Battery has once again found its mark. And crumpled that gun's attempt to fire, and they will have to reset their aim. CSA returns a cannon round though. And you can see the mess that it has made. I believe it was this one right here. Infantry now really going to work for both sides. We got a Union charge into a very braced up CSA line. It does break and go into an attempt to melee. And neither side, I think, is going to come out with the win on that. The CSA does clean it up in the end by pushing another unit forward and into that melee. That will cause a shift in the front line. Point of contention right below us right now, and your front line is something like this. We'll see what Union's other infantry is doing. They got driven back here just slightly. Their flag is on the ground. It was likely that these boys were trying to pick the flag up. They're being held off by just a couple of overzealous CSA boys here. It's just one boy here. He comes in with the Bayo. He's gonna get one kill for sure. He's definitely got both of them. They should, I don't know, they should have just gone into their bayonets. As their buddy comes down here to try to reinforce them. I don't think he saw the rebel go into the bush, and a lone officer up here is trying to make something happen. He is probably just gonna go up and try to get some revolver kills, but he's all alone, and now he's gonna get shot and cost quite a big. Yeah, there he goes down. That really hurts an officer by himself. That will put Union into. Union isn't taking losses, but they do lose a decent amount of that blue on that line, line there. A large portion of it due to that officer. CSA's engaged. And for the most part, they're holding that engaged. And they are absolutely content to stay absolutely engaged and holding point of contention. Cannon duel continues to be quite messy. Looks like CSA probably still has the upper hand on this artillery duel, though most of these cannons are in a state of disarray. A couple have been completely silenced. And a few of them have really been drawn off to try to put shells into this rebel line. We'll see if they can make that happen. slightly uphill, though. They did move the gun. I think they might actually have a direct line of sight on the line at this point. Yes.
Hey, reform on the new line I just drew right here. Reform, reform.
Reform. We all know what this
Artillery
was
taking
about.
quite a bit of time to get shots off, and that's going to cost them. Infantry lines don't stay still for long, and every time you do not fire,
Serious, what are you aiming?
you then have to take time to shift
100%
the entire
I see
gun.
them. There is a regiment, one click right up north.
Union again going to form up down on the bank and try to make something work from the rear as the Union gun here tries to find this
180 yards
rebel
maybe?
line.
What does that look like?
Oh, run. Oh, okay, thank God that bounced. Alright.
Calling about 180 on the
Yeah.
yardage. We will see. It might actually work out for him, even if it is short with the slight uphill. And it goes way up and over. If the other gun's going to send it, and they do, both guns. Actually, he hits the rock. He hits the rock, but it does send it up here, and the ricochet harmlessly flies over their heads. A couple of Rambos here in the rocks, and a main Union line. They're going to immediately fall back yet again from this riverbank. Or to the riverbank, I should say. Both teams now are in taking losses. Union significantly slipping faster than CSA is. CSA holding the ground and now able to defend from in front of the point of contention should they wish to. Currently they are not. They are right along the point of contention itself and able to actually move their lines forward and back with ease. And they are absolutely dictating the battle at this point. The infantry stalemate has actually allowed the artillery duel to reach a point where not much is happening. Only the most hardcore artillerists remain, and everybody else has slightly been I don't want to say defeated, but they've given up and moved on to do infantry things, I believe. The Union infantry gonna cut right across the field in front of these rebel guns. It's gonna make them a little bit excited. We'll see if they shift at all. They're gonna get a bite on one of them. They have to get this cannon moved and then the elevation shifted too, or they're... And that line's gonna be gone by the time he pulls the lanyard. Nobody's gonna be there. He fires. Oh, and he fired canister. Nobody. No. Canisters for very, very much up close work. And you'll never make anything happen with that. Big old melee right here down in the middle. But it's not probably going anywhere for Union, despite the fact that they're pulling all their troops into it. This rebel front line has been holding all game, and are consolidating right now. They don't plan on breaking at all, as they move right on in there and start taking the point of contention. And let's get down in here and take a look. Union flag's going down there. Another Union flag bearer is still up. He tries to take some cover behind a guy that dies. And both flags come back up. CSA battery now pounding the center just to the right of their main line. Union goes into breaking, and the red circle starts to close again. And CSA does, in the long run, win the day on that one. And they begin to really drive that assault back off the field. Union now really resetting way down in the creek.
Let's go. USB, loose on me. USB, loose on me.
Big old muster trying to make something work in the final moments here as they go to push across the river.
Let's move out. Let's go. Go, 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 go.
Move out as well.
Once again, both teams slip into braking, and CSA is going to have to hold this for longer than they think they initially wanted to. The grass around the CSA artillery field has finally lost its red hue. You can see all the shots that Union was landing here. This is actually really cool to look at. This is where every one of those Union shells landed, and you can see the decent accuracy that they had been having all game. Up a hill too is not an easy shot, especially when you are under fire from both cannons, and for a large part they had skirmishers and Rambos firing on them. The Union battery, I guess, has been silenced, other than close support work for the infantry boys, and they are no longer firing on the CSA guns. Likewise, you can see the CSA artillery's immense accuracy here as these shells came in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just right on top of each other. They were hitting the exact same spot with every pull of the lanyard. Absolutely amazing work by the CSA guns as well. Rebel line now back in its comfort zone, and it's not going to try to budge off of this central ground. Union pouring onto the field, onto this left CSA flank. They're going to try to desperately get to these rocks. They're not big enough for all these boys, though. They think that they're big enough, but this is there's a lot of people in the server today, and these rocks are only going to provide a little bit of coverage. And CSA's counter charge, though, is gonna really hinder this. They are getting up in here. If they can form a battle line, they might stand a chance, but Union's battle line, or CSA's battle lines, I'm sorry, have been sitting here waiting for this, and they simply wheel and reform. One CSA regiment forms a battle line and starts pouring fire out, while another CSA regiment actually does give charge. And after the initial fire, the other regiment joins in, and that's going to drive the Union team back down to the banks of the river once again. And unfortunately, Union's braking is going to quickly start to give way. Union guns now singing out. It looks like they probably are trying to renew this duel, but it's very late. It's not going to have much of an effect on any tickets, and these guns, for the most part, have been completely repositioned. So there is only one Napoleon here, and I actually do not see where that shot landed to begin with. Right. Real fractured Union team here. You can see they are pretty much driven all the way back into their camp areas. I say camp area, there's no camp. They have really just been driven all the way back to the areas they can hold without moving too much. And it doesn't look very good for the Union. CSA is going to probably draw their lines up one last time and firm them up as the Union now comes back across the river for a final push. 2:50 on the clock.
It's noise. Fuck you.
And they're going to decide to come around the left side as they cross the creek. They are not very dense, however. They probably needed to gather themselves a little bit more. They are coming in here pretty wide and pretty long. You can see that big long blue caterpillar right there. I'll show it to you in red, white, and blue. And we know what happens when you come in long and thin. You get taken out piece by piece by piece. We'll see if this density works, but CSA is going to countercharge from the left flank. Cannons are going to sing out. 1:51 now left on the clock, and Union's going to get stopped cold. Center map before the point of contention. And CSA says you're going nowhere. Union flags going down. A whole bunch of dyed blue rocks are on the ground as well. Nothing from the Union battery, and they're trying to respawn as fast as they can, but it's not going to happen for them. Both flags now down. A strong rebel front line. They've even got a cannon up here on their front line. And this one's gonna go out to the rebel boys. Great job by both teams' artillery. An amazing artillery duel here on Pry Ford. We're gonna wrap this one up with a slow forward push back to the creek by the CSA. And they've even got musicians going in their backfield, and we'll pull this one up. But I will just go ahead and leave you with the map.
Don't stop. Push the point. Push the point. Don't stop.
Alright, as we pull it back here, really not much to say that hasn't been said. The chess game firmly in CSA's pocket today, at least on the infantry side. Union battery doing their job, but Union infantry just could not make it happen. Great job, CSA, and I'll leave you with the map.
The idyllic Antietam Creek was an important waterway which powered a number of grist mills for the wheat and corn grown in the area. It was also a natural barrier between the two armies as they met for battle. Thus, one of the logistical and strategic hurdles for General McClellan to consider was how to get tens of thousands of men, horses, and cannon across in time to engage against Confederates. On the 16th, rebel pickets spotted the first elements of the 1st Corps crossing at Pry Ford and the Upper Bridge, with more moving across during the night and the next morning.
Alright, one last time. As usual, if you are still here, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you have enjoyed these and you haven't yet, down below, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a follow. If you do have friends, send them on by. And until next time, I'll see you on the field.